afternoon, folks. I know it was 2 days later than we builded it for, but here we are. We are up and running on the JB Clark YouTube channel, FA Cup commentaries, and our first tie that we're going to bring you here from the third round of the FA Cup is Tottenham versus Aston Villa. Two great teams with 13 FA Cup victories between them. Spurs' last was in 91. Villa, you have to go way back to 1957 for the last time they won this famous old trophy. The two teams are out in the tunnel. We've got two more results to bring you, and at half time before we go to the game, the boys are out in the tunnel. Cardiff are out, beaten 2-1 in that All Championship match earlier on against Fulham. And well done to Derek Adams' Plymouth. They held Liverpool to a 0-0 at Anfield. 8,000 Plymouth fans travelled a 600-mile round journey there and got a creditable draw, so Plymouth will have to go all the way down to home park for a replay. There was a 3 o'clock, by the way, and that's half-time. Chelsea and Peterborough are in action as well at Stamford Bridge, and it's going to the form book. Chelsea are top of the league under the watchful glow of Antonio Conte, bouncing back from that defeat here at Tottenham with a 2-0 half-time lead against Peterborough United. Middlesbrough Sheffield Wednesday, of course, is another half-time, and that's goalless. Welcome along to this FA Cup third round. We were due to open our coverage against at the London Stadium, but unfortunately I came down with a little bit of a cold, so I couldn't actually do the game. But we are here at White Hart Lane, and I hope you like our little snazzy new little theme tune as well. And of course, all you guys who are tuning into this cup game, you're going to help out us out in a bit of history. We'll bring you the two lineups in a second, as both Villa and Tottenham, a league between them now. They used to be Premier League sides up until last season, until Villa got themselves relegated. And as I say, everyone who's tuning into the stream is more than welcome to comment. I'll try and read as many comments as we can as the two teams emerge onto the field. There is a corner missing, obviously, because Spurs obviously are building their new stadium, which coincides on that little bit of White Hart Lane, but it looks in good nick the ground, and Villa have brought quite a lot with them, about 4,500 to 5,000, and are making an almighty racket. Right, let's give you the two lineups for this afternoon's FA Cup third round game. A few changes here. Spurs make a change, no Lloris, so it's Michel Vorm in goal. Back three of Carter Vickers, Alderweireld and Wimmer. A midfield four of Trippier, Winks, Dyer and Davis. Trippier and Davis are two wingers, and Sissoko, Janssen and Son make up the attacking three. Sissoko and Son play on either side of Vincent Janssen. So they'll play a 3-4-3 formation. Let's have a look at Aston Villa with Johnston in goal for them. A back four today of Hutton, Chester, Bacon and Amani. A midfield three there of Tishabola, Jeranik and Jack Grealish, good young prospect. And up front, Albert Adoma, Gabriel Bongahor and Bakuna. So again, Villa sort of matching up in the attacking sense, although they're going with four at the back. 4-3-3 they play, with Bakuna and Adoma giving support to Gabriel Bongahor, who's just returned back from the club. Steve Bruce is the manager. They're mid-table in the Championship. They're only about 4 or 5 points off those playoffs. After a difficult start for them when Robbie Di Matteo came in as manager initially, couldn't get the results the new owners wanted, and as a result he got sacked. So let's have a look at the Spurs bench. Lopez, Batongan, Wanyama, Garudu, Dele Alli, Amona and Walker Peters. Galini, Helvig, Westwood, Green, Sissoko, Davis and Ross McCormack on the Aston Villa substitutes today. No place in the squad for Jonathan Codger. And the referee today, well, it was a bit of a controversial appointment, I have to say. Mike Dean from Merseyside, or from Cheshire these days. A very controversial appointment, I have to say. but he gets the nod after some very substanding referee in that Premier League game between West Ham and Manchester United just the other day. So it's a very noisy White Hart Lane. Spurs in the white shirts to get us away. They're going to attack the goal to our left. So our coverage of the FA Cup, our first commentary of the Cup, of this year's FA Cup competition, is up and underway. Tottenham against Aston Villa from White Hart Lane. It was due to be the London Stadium, but as I said, I was off with a cold, so I couldn't bring you the commentary. And of course we've had so many shocks. Bournemouth are out, beaten by Millwall yesterday. Bournemouth, as I said at the start, holding out against Liverpool. What a tremendous fillip for them as well. Audio commentary, don't forget, we can't bring you the game visually because for obvious reasons the FA might want to make a copyright strike against me, so we're going audio today. Steve Bruce, I can see there on the far side. Both teams, as I say, traditional colours. Villa in their claret and blue, as Vimmer gets that forward for Spurs up to the far side. One or two unfamiliar names and one or two quite familiar names. There's one that you'll be very familiar with, Alderweireld. You might not be familiar with Vimmer. You may well be familiar with Son on the ball, but Villa, who after a shaky start in the Championship, just starting to get things right, although they did have a bit of a bad defeat against Cardiff City in their last away game. So nothing's cast in stone. Vimmer back to goalkeeper Michel Vorm. We'll have a lot of feelings, of course, I'm sure, for the plight of Swansea City, being a former Swansea goalkeeper, of course. Here's Vimmer back to Alderweireld. And good to see Kieran Trippier as well. Here he is on Kieran Trippier now, on ball up towards him, in fact, from Eric Dyer. Trippier can't keep it in on the far side. Good to see Trippier, actually. I haven't commentated on him since for a very long time, and it's nice to see him getting a few games, certainly in the Champions League, where he had a bit of a run in the side. Although Spurs didn't qualify for the next round, he certainly did well in the games he played in, and impressed quite magnificently. But as a result, I'm sure you'll have another run in Europe, as Spurs next month will be reconvening their Europa League, or will start their Europa League challenge. Of course, the European Cup competitions start again next month, but it's for this month at least. It's all about the FA Cup. So the last tie of today. One more tie after this, and that's at the Abbey Stadium tomorrow between Cambridge United and Leeds United. That could be strangely enough, being picked for a televised game, but I think with it being Leeds United, I suppose they're in good form in the Championship. In Cambridge, of course, maybe this is why the cameras will be there at Abbey Stadium tomorrow, because there may be a potential cup upset there. There could be an upset here today. And just to remind everybody who's not familiar with the rules of the FA Cup, for the first 3 rounds, that's this 3rd round, 4th and 5th rounds, as we just see a good run through the middle there. And that may well fall for goalkeeper Johnston. No, it'll go for, in fact it goes off a Spurs player last, and it was a good bulging run through the middle there. Seeing it again. It was the number 17 breaking forward. Sissoko, moves to Sissoko. We have a comment, but please don't keep going to any live streams, because it defeats the object. Live streams are not good, so please don't. You're gonna get cut off if you're gonna start promoting other streams. Just listen to the commentary. Or if you have the telly on, turn it down and listen to my commentary. Here's Vimmer for Spurs. Nothing happening at the moment. We're coming in towards the 5th minute now. We might see something happen here on this near side here with Adoma. Adoma passed his man, but again, good covering back there by the Spurs defence. And now Alan Hutton, former Rangers player, playing it to Baker, and Baker just touching it out to the far side again. Now Grealish in the middle of the midfield. What a moment for him now to really impress. He impressed in the run to the final a couple of years ago. He really tore West Brom apart in a quarter-final game, I remember, against West Bromwich Albion, which got them to Wembley to the semi-final. One ball looking for Agbonlahor, but that'll go in a touch for a goal kick. Boy, it was heavily criticised for his lack of effort. Certainly when Remy Gard was the manager last season, he was certainly universally criticised by Stan Collymore, along with a lot of one or two players, Bakuna being one, Brett Guzan, who's now moved on to Middlesbrough, being another. But they went down with a bit of a whimper last year, Villa. I'm sure Villa fans will concur with me, or quite the majority of them will concur with me. But they are a big club, and you expect them to really be Jonathan Codger for quite a lot of money. He's repaid him in goodness, but he's not in the lineup today. Bro Gamer says hi and hello to you. Good afternoon to you. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. It's all about possession football in its opening stages. Wimmer just keeping it going, and now it's back to Alderweireld. Now Eric Dyer now, England international. Good to see one or two England internationals out there. Trippier now knocking it back. No, this is a live commentary. Read the description, Pro Gamer. This is a live commentary stream. That's why it's like that. I use the FIFA background. How many more times do I have to explain myself? If you're going to comment on the match that's taking place now. It's a live radio stream. It's a live radio commentary stream with FIFA background. I can't show any footage of the game because the FA will put in a copyright strike against my name. One ball up towards Trippier. Back with the game. Infield to Sissoko. Sissoko back to Trippier on the right hand side. Almost gave it away to Agbonlahor on halfway. Now Alderweireld. Long ball forward by him, but he can't get all the way on that far side or that near side. There's the Tottenham manager, Mauricio Pochettino. And there's just a little shot there of the new stadium being built just behind the goal to our right. Which means Spurs will have to go away from White Hart Lane next season, of course. Wimmer nodding it back forward up towards Janssen that time. Wimmer will try again on the near side. And Janssen trying to get it out, but a chance here for Bakuna to get it away. But Sissoko wins it back to Trippier. Trippier from the right hand side in towards Janssen. And I think there was an infringement or an offside flag up, and it will be a free kick. In fact, it was a free kick to Aston Villa. And our first tie of the new year, our first commentary of the new year, and our first ever FA Cup commentary. Features two teams really, with something like 13 FA Cup victories between them. Spurs, of course, last won this famous old competition back in 1991. It is 0-0, by the way, just so you know. 1991, the last time Spurs won it under Terry Venables. Final famous for Gazza's infamous injury when he went in very late on Gary Charles, and it was won by an own goal by Des Walker. For Aston Villa, however, you have to go back to 1957 for the last time they actually won the famous old trophy. Peter McParland scoring twice as they beat Manchester United by 2-1, and one of the goals that McParland got was a bit on the illegal side. Ask your granddad about that one. 10 minutes gone, nothing really happening at the moment. Two very much changed outfits from the league programmes, and it's still to come to the ball, and it's still goalless. Michel Vorm in the Tottenham goal. Eric Dyer now, just touching it back. Spurs' European adventures start again at White Hart Lane on the 23rd of February, and they play Ghent. But I think this is going to be a really, really good, exciting and very entertaining FA Cup third round game. Remind you of we do have other games going on, just to remind you. Chelsea now 3-0 up against Peterborough United, and that is going on right now. But Villa have won it 7 times, Spurs have won it 8. I got the statistics a little bit wrong. They've won it a grand total of 15 times between them, so I apologise for that. But at the moment, still to come to the boil as Janssen tries to get it away, but again Villa pinches it back on their own D, and Bakuna tries to get that away. You throw the Spurs, throw the Villa, sorry. Adama. Kieran Trippier now supporting a very decent, very short back and sides haircut. A little bit on top. Did look unfamiliar for 1 minute, because that didn't look like the Trippier we knew and love at Burnley. But it is the same Trippier. At least he likes to bomb forward. Here's Vimmer now for Spurs, near side. Just getting it forward down the near side, looking for Davis. Davis controls it. Willian has scored the third goal for Chelsea there, 3 up against Peterborough. That was a 3 o'clock kick-off. They're into the second half there, as Spurs try to make something down the right-hand side. It was hooked back into the middle by Janssen, but cleared away by Villa. And it was a throw just 10 yards from halfway. As we come up to 12, we've just gone past the 12-minute mark. 0-0 here in this third round FA Cup. The final one of this afternoon. Just to remind you, earlier on today, Plymouth got a 0-0 at Liverpool, which was a big result for them when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. For Plymouth Argyle to go to Anfield and get a 0-0 was a remarkable achievement when you think about it. And they brought at least a good 5,000-6,000, a good 8,000 of their Green Army supporters down to Anfield and got a 0-0 out of it. It was a really good performance by Plymouth Argyle. Hutton jumping for that one. They can't get the leverage, and it's a Spurs throw midway inside their own half. Chester number 12 has got to an FA Cup final before in his whole days. There were 2 up inside the 12 minutes. You may remember in 2014 when they could have gone 3 up against Arsenal in that classic final back then, but Arsenal came back to win it 3-2 in extra time in one of the better cup finals we've seen in recent years. Dele Alli amongst the Tottenham changes today. Harry Kane incidentally not in the squad today. I suppose with the big league games coming up and the Europa League as well, which is going to be Thursday, Sunday now for the majority, depending on how far Tottenham go in that particular competition, it will put a strain on their squad. And Liverpool are disappointed. They have to go again at home park, and they've got to travel quite a long way, 300 miles down to Devon. Long ball over the top towards Ekbom-Lahore, inside the penalty area. It's got no support though, has to hook the ball back across, and Eric Dyer was there first for Spurs. And first real opportunity that Villa have got in behind, and they've got a free kick as well. But Gabriel Ekbom-Lahore there, just showing some glimpses of the old magic he had in his younger days, and almost getting, that's the first time we've seen Ekbom-Lahore just explode in the game so far. Still 0-0, quarter of an hour almost gone. Another free kick to Aston Villa. Well, there by Moussa Sissoko. who's still not in my good books because he created the winning goal for Danny Rose and when Burnley were the visitors to Turf Moor just before Christmas. Before that, he could have been quite easily sent off for a high foot on Stephen Ward. I mean, on another day that could have been a leg breaker, but he got away with it. One ball forward and a goal kick. You are welcome to comment on the game. Keep your comments clean. We want to hear from Tottenham fans. We want to hear from Aston Villa fans. What do you think will happen in this third round cup game this afternoon? Will it be a win for either one of these two teams, or will we have a replay a week and a half time at Villa Park, which could happen? It's Villa have a goal kick and a free kick in fact to Tottenham. Johnson yet to have a meaningful shot to save so far in this opening 16 minutes. We've just ticked by, still goalless. But I just think if we can get a goal here in this game, then I think we could have a real classic on our hands between two teams who have won the cup between them 15 times. Offside there given, and it will be a free kick. Davis there just going into an offside position. As you can see there, just wading in there. Wasn't much in it, I suppose, but it was the right decision. Ashley Mottram is on. Good afternoon to you, Ashley. Nice to hear from you. Happy New Year to you. What's everyone's thoughts on Dele Alli? Is he good enough for Barca, Real Madrid, or too soon? Well, I think Dele Alli's better off where he is now. I think he's a little bit too soon for him to go to Barcelona, but there have been newspaper speculation linking him and manager Pochettino to go to Barcelona, because I'm not sure. Well, they want Pochettino to be the new Barcelona manager for when Luis Enrique moves on. So whether that's true or not, we'll have to see. As Spurs keep breaking, and Janssen trying to get the ball there, but he was handed out there by two Villa defenders on the edge of the box, and referee Mike Dean, who will be watching his. We have to say, referee Mike Dean here, he can't have a worse game than what he had at the London Stadium a few days ago. Harry Winks making the initial break. He's been one of the new prodigies that's broke into the Spurs side in recent weeks. Carter Vickers is another one that's getting his chance, number 39. Was committed a foul there, just barged into the back of Gabriele Bongoho. Villa here have a free kick midway inside the Spurs half in a very good position. Amani and Jack Grealish over it. It's just to the left hand side here. Baker and Chester both forward from the back, and it's Grealish just sending it in towards Hutton at the back post, and it's hooked out for a corner for Villa. Panini says hello, good afternoon Panini, and you've done Panini's done a sterling job covering the lesser cup ties, the Barrow game yesterday when they ended up losing out, and one or two others. He did a sterling job there in those particular cup ties, keeping the cup commentaries alive whilst I was off with a cold. But here's Grealish then with the Villa corner, near side, right hand side, in towards the 6-yard box, and they were all attacking it, but I think there was a bit of pushing and shoving inside the 6-yard area, and a 3 kick to Spurs, and Mike Dean obviously spotting something. It's still 0-0 as we come past the 19th minute mark now of the third round of the FA Cup at White Hart Lane. The first live commentary of the FA Cup on this YouTube channel, and so far yet was brilliant. Now your man, I think he's referring to Mike Claret 94 here, is Panini. He was nearly right on Preston North End. Yeah, they were very unlucky. Arsenal just had that little bit of quality in a late goal. Just to keep you updated with another scoreline: Middlesbrough 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. That's up at the Riverside. They're into the second half there. Grant Ledbetter with the Middlesbrough goal, and they've played almost an hour there up at the Riverside Stadium. Here's Hutton on the near side for Villa. Gets it back from again. I'll tell you what, Villa, I've given them a good game so far. Not really giving Spurs too many chances. Johnston hasn't had too much to do. He's booted a good ball away there with his right foot. But here's Dyer now trying to get Sissoko away. Sissoko battling through there, but Baker stood firm. The Spurs still have it here with Ben Davies near side. Davies looks to get Janssen down the near flank and wins a throw. 10 yards from the edge of the penalty area. Almost halfway inside the Villa half. Back again. And now a chance here now for Harry Winks now to try and get something going here for Tottenham. 0-0. Now Carter Vickers. Eric Dyer on halfway. Plays it again to the left hand side. And here's a chance now for Wimmer. Wimmer to Davis. Davis in field once again. Chance here for young Harry Winks to make a good dash down that near side. And he's pursued by two Villa defenders who chop him over. Adoma was one of them, and a free kick to Tottenham. Jack Grealish, I think, was the other man involved. Yes, he was nearly right penny about the Preston score. They should have been 2 up, I think, by half time. I saw the match and I was nursing my cold yesterday, and they were so close there to causing a tremendous cup upset. But Arsenal sneaked through. Well, their North London rivals sneaked through as well. Aston Villa not want to be another Midlands club to fall at this stage, as the free kick comes in from Trippier, punched away by Johnston, but it will be a Spurs ball almost over with the penalty area. Coming up towards the halfway mark of what's been a pretty competitive first half without any penetration really, or any real glorious opportunities yet. Still to come alive this match. Tottenham 0, Aston Villa 0. It's a shame really to see Aston Villa in the second tier of English football. They are a Premier League team in all but the league. You look at the stadium, it's 40,000, it's a traditional football ground, Villa Park, and that stadium should be more deserving than what Villa get, what Villa are in terms of league position. That Villa Park Stadium is brilliant. You have to feel for Aston Villa, says Ashley. Says they've drawn more Premier League teams in FA Cup draws than any other club. But having said all that, they got to the final 2 years ago and they had to knock out quite a number of Premier League teams to get there. Leicester City in the 5th round, West Brom in the quarter-finals, and then they beat Liverpool in a classic semi-final, but came up short when it mattered in the final against Arsenal. Lost 4-0. Jurinek penalised for a challenge there on Janssen, and it's back in play quickly in towards Son. Back to Trippier again on the far side, and Harry Winks now taking control, trying to knock the ball in here to Musa Sissoko, who signed of course from Newcastle. We're talking about him almost going to Everton of course, but decided on Spurs. Whether it was a money thing I'm not sure, but Ronald Koeman wasn't impressed by it when he agreed a deal to go to Goodison Park, but then decided to go further down towards London rather than Liverpool. Everton, that is. Davis is lost out. There's the aforementioned Sissoko. Back to Eric Dyer. Dyer trying to play a nice ball in there, looking for Trippier on the far side. He can't reach it. And it's out of play. And behind for a goal kick for Aston Villa. 24 minutes now have been completed. And it's 0-0. And just to remind anyone who's not familiar with the FA Cup, we don't, in the first match, if it does end a draw, that's it. We go to a replay, but that's from rounds 3 to 5, and then the quarter-finals onwards, it has to be decided on the day or the evening. And then it's extra time and penalties, just like it is in the EFL Cup, but that's from the quarter-final onwards, and the semis, and of course, the final at Wembley. And here comes Trippier, near side, far side over, in towards Janssen. Janssen on the edge of the area, dispossessed quite brilliantly by Grealish. He's been here, there and everywhere so far in his opening 24 minutes. He's a star of the future, I think, Jack Grealish. He just needs to get his life off the pitch in order. I think he's got the best manager around in Steve Bruce, who, of course, was without a club at the start of the season. and he saw the light at hole with the finances there, and he knew straight away he couldn't manage that team. He knew full well. He's come to Villa, despite his connections, of course, with Birmingham. Just to remind you, no attempts at the moment, but 71% possession for Villa, Spurs rather, 29% Aston Villa. But as I said, we haven't had any shots to bring you yet. It's been a bit of a chess match, if you see what I mean. I can't pronounce your name, so apologies for that. But he does say, hello, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. I've recovered from my cold over the weekend, and this is why we're bringing you FA Cup football on this YouTube channel for the very first time here on the JB Claret YouTube channel. One ball up towards Trippier. Johnston has that covered. No doubt about it. He's got a considerable height advantage, the goalkeeper, over Kieran Trippier, of course, and that was easy as anything there for the young goalkeeper on loan from Manchester United. Here's Grealish now in the middle of the park. Has to knock it back. Given away now, a chance here for Sissoko to bomb forward. Now Son, he's got Janssen up ahead. Son now bursts towards the Villa penalty area. Son might get it in there. Good tackle there from Baker. Had to time it well. It was inside the penalty box, and that was terrific defending there from Nathan Baker. Really was good, disciplined defending, and really was. Still we await an early goal here. Well, we had it wasn't a classic cup at Anfield today, but credit for Plymouth for keeping Liverpool at bay. I think I was watching the game, and some of the television commentators were giving Plymouth a bit of unfair, unnecessary stick, I have to say. But here they come now, Villa. They're trying to make a good go with this. Bommelhor on the chase, and he put the defender under pressure. In fact, he's fouled out of Herald, and it will be a free kick to Spurs. I don't understand that last comment there from our unpronounceable friend. But Panini says worst game of the season. I bet you missed that one. Yes, I did actually, Panini, I must admit. I do look forward to the Merseyside derby every year, but it wasn't a classic, if I'm being honest, and I'm glad I didn't commentate on it. There's been a development in the Chelsea game, by the way. John Terry has been sent off at Stamford Bridge. It's still Chelsea 3, Peterborough 0, but John Terry, the former England captain, has been sent off. They've played 67 minutes at Stamford Bridge, and John Terry has been sent off, which is a bit of a shame, really, from Chelsea's point of view. I'm sure when you see it on Match of the Day a bit later, you'll see the sending off in all its glory, and you'll read all the match reports afterwards. Just to remind you, I haven't got the details with me, but John Terry has been sent off for Chelsea, and at the moment, but Chelsea still, you'd think, are sailing comfortably through to the fourth round. And of course, we'll bring you that fourth round draw on this YouTube channel tomorrow evening as Villa go forward. First shot on target, in fact, straight in the arms of Michel Ball from around 35 yards. It was Leandro Bacuna with his right foot just to the left of centre. Easy there for Michel Vaughan, despite a bouncy ball there in front. But we've had our first shot on goal, and it's come with almost 29 minutes of play. Gone. Coming up towards half an hour then at White Hart Lane in the third round of the FA Cup. Offside against Son. Free kick to Villa. And it's been a very, very tightly contested game. It's been a little bit like a chess match, really. And we're looking very closely at how Mike Dean has performed in that first half. And so far, touch wood, and there's a bit of wood near me in the commentary position I've got. He's had a decent game, although his refereeing at West Ham the other night was a lot to be desired, I have to say. Now then, here's Adoma breaking forward. Hutton forward. Oh, I think Mike Dean could have played advantage there. He's given Villa a free kick, but I have to say, why didn't Mike Dean play an advantage? The Villa fans quite rightly giving him the bird here. Dyer is certainly a free kick, but Hutton had gone in the penalty area, had cut inside. Why couldn't Mike Dean have just played on? For heaven's sake, no wonder Steve Bruce is absolutely fuming. Another brainless refereeing call there for Mike Dean. And he's getting the bird now from everybody. Panini. Well, I don't have to read that message from Panini to know what Mike Dean is, I tell you. But it is a free kick to Villa, and they might still profit from this. Don't forget. Gisbella is on the edge of the penalty area. Baker's in there too. Grealish will take it, I would have thought. He's a part of the two-man committee. It is Grealish. Whips it in from the right-hand side. Still might come for Adoma. Hooks it back into the 6-yard box. Two Villa players going up for the same ball. And in the end, it didn't really come right. But Villa will feel rightly aggrieved that there wasn't an advantage played. So we've got some more controversial refereeing from Mike Dean in this game. I knew we'd probably get something there. Here's a chance for Villa now to break. Adoma now, near side. Can Villa, who have just slightly shaded in terms of chances, and Grealish will try with his left foot, and he gets it too far underneath. It's gone wide and not so handsome over the bar, and it's a goal kick to Aston Villa, who will feel rightly aggrieved here, because there was certainly a cause about 2 or 3 minutes ago for an advantage to be played. There was no doubt about it. It was a foul on Adoma, but Hutton, the vital thing was Hutton did have possession, and he should have played on with an advantage. And I've got to say, Mike Dean, not for the first time this week, hang your head in shame. Big kick there for... Well, Mike Dean got that one right. It was a definite foul there by Musa Sissoko. It just amazes me how Mike Dean got this game in the first place, considering he had a massively poor display in the West Ham Manchester United game at the moment. Really was. There were claims here. He also refereed. Panini makes up the point that Nathan Redmond, when he last took charge of a Spurs game, lost his footing. Mike Dean sent him off, and he said it was never a penalty. And I have to say, I think he had a point there, Panini. I haven't seen the footage of that, but Mike Dean had even a shocker that night, and it has been rumours. There's been YouTube videos of Mike Dean actually celebrating Spurs goals in North London derbies in the past. Whether that's true or not, I'm not trying to say he's a Spurs fan or anything, but he has a soft spot for Tottenham, and I think he may have got Tottenham off the hook there a little bit with that undecision to play an advantage when it should have been a clear advantage when Hutton was making a perfectly good break. Ashley Mottram is back with us again. He says, give credit to Steve Bruce. This, as we just see a Spurs attack go out, and it's a corner to Spurs. Give credit to Steve Bruce, he says. This Villa team looks so much more better, so organised than the shambles of last season. No offence to Villa fans. Well, I've got to say, it's been far from a shambles here from Villa. They've really given it a good go, and I think that you'll find that in the second half of the season they will move up that championship table and will sneak into a playoff spot. And who knows, they might even... There's always a team that comes across as that ball comes in towards the 6-yard box, but that's it was Dyer reflected on, but into no man's land, and goalkeeper Johnston, who hasn't really had too much to do, was able to pick that up under no unnecessary pressures. But Villa giving it away rather carelessly now. Son picks it up. Trippier on the far side. Trippier trying to play a low cross in, but he can't succeed, and now Lacuna can break here for Aston Villa, and he wins a throw as well. 10 yards short of the halfway line. Eric Dyer is the Spurs captain for today. We're almost up towards the final 10 minutes plus stoppage time of the first half. If it was to end a draw, we'd have a replay at Villa Park a week on either Tuesday or Wednesday. But of course, my beloved Clarets drew yesterday in what was really, I looked at the 2-minute highlights, would just break off as Ben Davies trying to make headway, but he's run out of the pitch. Only 18,000 at the stadium like yesterday. It could have been the hat route right. We do have a replay though at 4 week on Tuesday. Of course, we'll have some League Cup semi-final commentaries this week as well. First legs. Oh, 1-2-0 yesterday. They play Manchester United at Old Trafford. And then in the other game, Southampton against Liverpool at St Mary's. Jurgen Klopp resting quite a number of his squad there for it. Though he had to bring 3 big guns on against Plymouth, but they couldn't break down the Plymouth organisation. Plymouth did have a couple of good chances in the second half to make a real fight of it and make a real shock, but so far to no avail. Of course, Sutton United have a second goal at Wimbledon, of course, having held them yesterday. Here's Ben Davies inside the penalty area, pulled back, and just nobody there in white inside the centre, and Villa were able to get it away as far as Vima, and now it's back to Alderweireld on the halfway line. Now Carter Vickers, and he plays that back to Alderweireld in the just inside the Villa half, inside the centre circle. Now Winks tries to get Spurs moving on to Davis on the left hand side. Back in field now to Sissoko. Sissoko just showing too much there to the Aston Villa defence, and they were able to get that away. Vima to Winks. Winks now back in field now. Through the centre goes Sissoko. Good ball by Sissoko. Now Eric Dyer has it. Dyer looking for options. He's got some in Song. And at the moment it's still 0-0. We are still with you, I think, in this third round FA Cup. If you can hear us or listen to us, please give us a shout. Maybe Where You Go is being sung by the Villa public here at the moment. Marvellous atmosphere. An FA Cup game which is just yet really hasn't come to any great significance here at the moment, and that's a real shame really for the competition. But we do have a really good match now in the offing, and hopefully we'll have a better second half for you as well. Still no goals, and Panini is back online. And he's come up with his 2 penneth. Hull City, new manager. The honeymoon will be over when Hull City smashed Hull City, I say 4-0 to Man City in the League Cup semi-final. It's actually Manchester United, Panini. It's actually Manchester United, mate. Man City were knocked out by Manchester United a couple of rounds ago in that competition. I should know, I commentated on the thing. Plenty more commentaries to come in the new year. Plus we'll have both League Cup and FA finals on this channel. Plus more Burnley commentaries as well, live and delayed. 2 games that we can pencil in for you as live is the away match with Arsenal in a couple of weeks' time. A couple of weeks today, in fact, will be a Clarets match live, and of course in February when we play Chelsea. And Benini predicts a 4-0 landslide for Manchester United. Well, in cup football, nothing is guaranteed. What's guaranteed here is, unless we find a goal in the next sort of 5 minutes for stoppage time, we'll be going in at half time with no goal to show for it. That's for sure. So awaiting this first goal, but again, as I say, Spurs have really disappointed, I think, today. They've not really created too much. They have looked bright and they've gone forward. Certainly in the first, defence and midfield they've been pretty rock steady, but up front in the final third they've just looked a little bit powder puff. I think they do miss Harry Kane, and that could be a real danger for them. But we've looked lively as well. Here's Harry Winks now on the left hand side for Tottenham. 2 Villa defenders converging around him, and a good little fashion game of tackling down round the side It's a throwback to the old days, but nothing wrong with that. Challenges the referee on Villa protest. Here's Ben Davies inside the penalty area, needs support. And the best thing he could have done was to try and win a corner, which is not a corner because it's a goal kick to Aston Villa because it came off. No, it is a corner. I'm wrong. I thought it was a goal kick, but it isn't. It's a corner. Just to remind everybody that nothing will be settled today unless there's a winner in this game. If it is level, we don't need extra time or penalties, and there will be a replay for those who are unfamiliar with the FA rules of this famous old competition. Still 0-0. It's not for the one to try in here. Well, there's a number of dignitaries up in the director's box there. Ian Taylor there. Famous scored a goal at Wembley, 1996, the old Coca-Cola Cup final, now obviously known as the AFL Cup. Leeds United 3-0. Goals he got, his goal was the second goal, sandwiched between one for Sabo Milosevic and the late goal from Dwight York, which sealed a 3-0 victory over Leeds in that final. And that's their last major success, 1996, the League Cup. Since winning the Cup in 57, they've won the League Cup 5 times. They won the League in 81 and the European Cup in 82. And they got to 2 cup finals, 2000 and 2015, when they were beaten by, of course, Arsenal by 4-0. Spurs did get everything right a few days ago against Chelsea, but it's probably after the Lord Mayor's show at the moment. Here's some play through by Janssen, but again, good tackle there, and it needed to be there by Barney, because Son was closing in there on Johnston's goal, and it looked as if Spurs were going to go in front in the last 3 minutes of the first half. He got a good touch there as Son beared down on Johnston's goal, but it is a corner. Ben Davies to take it near side towards the back stick, headed back, but it's nodded away by Nathan Baker. It will be a throw, however, to Spurs, level with the penalty area. I have to throw it back though to Trippier. Trippier now keeps it going. Just to remind you, once we got to half time, and I've summed up what little key points we've had, and there's only one real talking point: the undecision by Mike Dean to give Villa, which should have been a proper advantage there in favour of Spurs, favour against Spurs. Once we've summed everything up, we'll take a 5-minute break, and after that break we'll bring you uninterrupted coverage of the second half, commentary of the second half of Tottenham versus Aston Villa, our first FA Cup commentary of the season. And for the first time ever on this YouTube channel, the FA Cup is being covered. Covered everything else, but not the FA Cup. Here's Janssen on the far side. Janssen now turning away from the Villa defence. Janssen still on the far side, and it's knocked away. Jack Grealish doing the covering now, trying to get a Bongo Horn his way, and it's found him magnificently and has stayed on side here. Gabriel Bongo Horn, can he keep it in on far side? It's a corner, I think, to Billow, which should have been. Oh, another one there that could have got away there for Villa. Another run decision there by Mike Dean. We're just looking at the reverse angle, and Bongo certainly keeps it in. That's a corner. It came off the defender. That's a corner. Another poor decision there from Mr. Dean. I wonder Steve Bruce will be perplexed by those two decisions. A, not to give the advantage early on when Villa did get a free kick, but they had a better chance of scoring on the advantage, and then seconds ago they're not getting a corner. I'm afraid Mike Dean's decision making is going to be under a lot more scrutiny at half time, I'm afraid. No more time to be added on. It has been free-flowing. There's not been that much in the way of stoppages as Pochettino makes his way up the tunnel. We are at half-time. No stoppage time needed to be played. But so half-time then. Aston Villa possibly the better team here at White Hart Lane. Spurs have created really next to nothing in this game. And as a result, Villa have been very, very organised defensively, but should feel very aggrieved that they've been on the wrong side of two horrible decisions by Mike Dean. The first one, when he gave a free kick when he looked a blatant advantage. Just looking at the match stats here, so Spurs have actually had 69% to 31%, but Villa have had 2 attempts to Tottenham 0, and they've had 1 on target to Spurs 0. 3 corners to Tottenham, 1 to Aston Villa. And that's been about it really, apart from those 2 undecisions from Mike Dean. And I'm sure the panellists on the TV will touch on that. I've had my 2 pennants on it, and I think Mike Dean on those 2 incidents has got both them wrong. So we're at half time then in this 3rd round FA Cup. Tottenham 0, Aston Villa 0, and Spurs really have to up their game, you feel, in the second half. Just to finish with Panini's comment, Villa's first win in the league kit was 1961, and yes, Aston Villa did beat Rotherham United over 2 legs, and the winning goal scorer, you won't be pleased to hear, you won't be surprised to hear, was the guy who got the 2 goals in the 1957 FA Cup final, Peter McFarland. So there you go, and there's a little bit of history lesson to end what's been a disappointing game of football, certainly from Spurs' point of view, but Aston Villa will feel that they could have gone in a goal up at least, and maybe if 1 or 2 of those decisions had gone for them, maybe they could be leading this game right now. But they're holding their own, Villa, and there's nothing in it between the Premier League team and the Championship team. Half time then at White Hart Lane, Spurs 0, Aston Villa 0. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and after that break we'll have the whole of the second half plus all the other scores from around the country in the FA Cup, if you haven't heard already today. So we'll take 5 minutes with the scoreline: Spurs 0, Aston Villa 0. Welcome back to Tottenham versus Villa 0-0 if you haven't already joined in. Just to keep you updated with what's gone on in the other games so far, we've had 4 other games today. They're all full times, of course. The early game was at the Cardiff City Stadium in front of just over 5,000. A pathetic attendance for a cup tie, really, and that really devalues the FA Cup. And even it's prompted Neil Warnock to say that the FA Cup's a dying dinosaur, which I think is very controversial, I have to say. But that's Neil Warnock's comments. I'm not altogether surprised, but what rubbish it comes out of his mouth. The FA Cup is not dying. Don't worry about that, traditionalists. Cardiff won. I think he's bitter because Cardiff have been knocked out by 2-1. Fulham with the winning with the late goal. Sessegnon getting the winning goal in that game. The story of the day, I have to say, what about it? 4th tier Plymouth holding Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool to a 0-0 draw. An amazing achievement. It wasn't a classic by any means, but Plymouth came there with a game plan, and well done to Derek Adams and his team. They really battled well, dug in deep, could have won it towards the end, of course, but it need not matter. They've got another big payday down at home park, and that is good enough for them at the moment. Well done. Chelsea have beaten Peterborough quite easily. 2 goals in that match there for in that game for Pedro, but John Terry was sent off a little bit harshly maybe, but he was the last man. Peterborough did score though through Tom Nichols, but it was to no avail. So Chelsea easily through. So the Manchester clubs, Chelsea, safely through to the hat, even though Liverpool are in the hat. They've still got a replay against Plymouth. Middlesbrough in the hat. 3-0 victories over Sheffield Wednesday. We probably have more of an eye really on getting into that playoff zone in the Championship. But they won't worry about that too much, I would have thought. And of course 0-0 here against Tottenham and Aston Villa. Matt Clarity's been on. Good. It says, evening John, good evening to you. We are past 5 o'clock and we are now officially into the evening time. It's now pitch black down there. Jack Grealish waiting to get underway. Villa going to kick off the second half, and they're going to attack the goal to our left, where almost 5,000 of the travelling villains who have come down from Birmingham for this game are situated behind, and they've had the better of things. And if it wasn't for 2 pieces of sheer brainless refereeing from Mike Dean, they may have had a chance to go in front in this tie, which was devastating really for the game as a whole. The Spurs were not at it in the first half. I don't think there's been any changes from the team, so it's as you were from the top onwards. So remember, just to remind you, thoughts on Liverpool's lineup against Plymouth? Well, I'll have to say, Chris, it wasn't Mike Claret. Well, it's Chris, to give him his proper name. I thought Klopp had selected with certainly Wednesday in mind. The League Cup semis, probably the biggest thing he could have will be looking at. But that team was, even though it was a young team, I still think it should have really done better against Plymouth. But Plymouth did well, as we have a chance there at the start for Vincent Janssen from just outside the penalty area, just to the right of centre with his left foot, and he's hit it straight into the arms of the goalkeeper Sam Johnston, and Villa survive. And that's the first shot on target from Tottenham, and it's had to wait a combined total of 46 minutes for them to actually put a shot on goal in this match. And here's Bakuna now for Aston Villa, down on the near side. Aston Villa look a lot more organised these days, certainly when they were under Remy Gard and Tim Sherwood last season. Of course now with the new owners as well in, no more Randy Lerdy now at Villa Park, which will be relieved to a lot of sections of the Villa Park support. It's a great football club, Aston Villa. I've been lucky to go to Villa Park and watch Villa there live, and it's a marvellous football ground, and it deserves the top flight of English football, it has to be said. But they're in the Championship for a reason. They were poor in the Premier League last year. It's taken them a little while to get to grips with the Championship, although Robbie Di Matteo wasn't given enough time. But I think if they got Steve Bruce in, as Johnson was placed chicken on the edge of his own area and hooks it out for a throw, But it's the same two teams. I'll try and, if I can give you the two lineups, I will. There we are. So we'll give you the two lineups just in case you missed it earlier. We'll get a break in play. Matt Clarett has responded, as Chris has said. I don't think Klopp could pick another team. He has the League Cup to deal with, of course, in a few days. Plus he likes giving youth players a chance when the FA Cup comes about. So he's got a fair point. We talked about that in our previous show on Saturday, where we made predictions. We actually one of the predictions we did make was the Liverpool-Plymouth game. One of the times I think I picked out. And here's Janssen now trying to play it through. Son has got it on the far side. And Spurs now looking a little bit more business-like in the second half as Son now tries to dart into the penalty area. Of course, the FA Cup fourth round draw as that cross comes in, but Johnson takes it quite calmly underneath his crossbar. Fourth round draw, incidentally, comes up tomorrow evening from around 7 o'clock. It's actually being done in the BT Tower in London. Of all the places you could actually have a cup draw. Nothing wrong with having it at FAHQ, to be honest with you, but there you go. Villa have run themselves a throw. Level with the penalty area. We'll reconvene with the two lineups in a second and the substitute benches, but at the moment it's Villa on the attack, and as soon as we get a break in play, we'll give you a recap of the two lineups. We played 3 minutes in the second half, and Grealish has won a free kick against Son, and Grealish is allowed to take it quickly. Now Tishbola can take it on and find Jaranek, former Crystal Palace man, and that's a really poor ball there from Alan Hutton, and it gives Spurs a little bit more of an impotence as Son tries to get forward, but it's given away rather carelessly now, and Avami now can break forward now for Villa, finds Leandro Bacuna. Bacuna plays it out towards the far side. Can he? And that's a fine ball to find Albert Adoma. Now Adoma breaking down the right hand side. Not a bad cross, but there's just nobody in Carlton Blue gambling in the centre. And that'll be a throw for Aston Villa, who started to get a grip of things again in this second half. Grealish, who's had plenty to say for himself, has had plenty of the ball in this game. Finds Bacuna. Bacuna can't get it forward, but it's another throw into Villa. After a good early start, good early pressure from Spurs when they forced a shot at Johnston's goal. Villa have taken over again. And I'm looking at very dangerous customers, I have to say. We will give you a recap on the two teams in case you've joined us late this afternoon. But what I can say is, with 5 minutes gone in the second half, it's Tottenham 0, Aston Villa 0, but Villa have had the better chances in what little goal mouth action we've seen so far. And another throw comes in. It was blocked by Eric Dyer. The attempted cross from the left-hand side by young number 40 Jack Grealish, who came to prominence in this competition 2 years ago in Villa's run to the final, where they saw off the likes of West Brom, Leicester and Liverpool in the semi-finals. As Grealish now plays it out towards number 12 James Chester, who got to the final with Hull a few years ago. Spurs not really getting into their rhythm. Now then, here's Tishbola. Tishbola now to Bonlahor. Cuts in from the left-hand side. Gets an outswinging crossing, which was an appalling cross now. And away go Tottenham now with Musa Sissoko. Sissoko touching it back to Ben Davis. Davis has got Son on the far side. Now, what can Son do? He's switched flanks here. And Son now switches inside the midfield. And Harry Winks now has possession. Here's Kieran Trippier. Former Burnley man, decent cross, that's what we know. And here's Son on the far side, couldn't hook it back across the goal. And Spurs looking a little bit more menacing, certainly in the final third, as this second half comes into play. It's a better, livelier second half. It's a free kick to Tottenham. And now I've just got enough time to give you the Tottenham lineup. They've started with Baum in goal, then it's Carter Vickers, Alderweireld, Wimmer and Trippier. Dyer, Winks, Davis and Sissoko, Janssen and Son are the 11 for Spurs, and the Villa starting 11, just to remind you: Johnston, Hutton, Chester, Baker, Avami, Adoma, Tishbola, Jaranek, Bacuna, Jack Grealish and Gabriel Bonlahor. And we'll give you the substitutes in a second, because there's nothing happening at the moment, just a bit of possession at the moment, one or two throws happening. For the Spurs, Batongan, Wanyama, Ndonko, Dele Alli, Anoma, Lopez Sabata and Walker Peters. They're the substitutes. And for Aston Villa's substitutes, we've got Golini, the goalkeeper, Elphick, Ashley Westwood, Green, Sissoko, Davis, and of course Ross McCormack. He's probably the most expensive Championship striker that ever in the history of that second tier. Of course, the controversial Mike Dean is the man in charge, and he's not let us down with controversial moments in this particular parish, I have to say. Just to remind you, Chelsea through, Liverpool need a replay at Plymouth, Bournemouth through as well, Middlesbrough through. Here's Grealish trying to get towards the penalty area. Still 0-0. Still one more game to come tomorrow evening. That's at the Abbey Stadium when Cambridge take on high-flying Championship player side Leeds United. Here's a chance now for Spurs. He's on the left-hand side. It's a much more open and much more stretched second half now than the first half was. If the first half was a complete game of chess, the second half has been a lot more open, and the old phrase "a game of two halves" really does spring to mind here. Come on, you Spurs, is the cry in the background. Remember, this is could be one of the last FA Cup matches ever to be staged here at White Hart Lane. Depending on how far Spurs go, they do get knocked out. It will be the last ever at this current stadium. Of course, they have to move away from White Hart Lane to Wembley next season. Sure, it devalues the FA Cup in some respects because they'll be having their home games at Wembley. Oh, and Vaughan almost putting his team into masses of trouble. And some good old-fashioned tackling going in there, and Mike Dean just waving it away. He has made a couple of controversial decisions in this game. One well placed. The first one was not in the first half. Two controversial moments in the first half from Mike Dean. First of all, the decision not to give a clear advantage to Tottenham when Adoma was clearly fouled. There's no doubt about that particular aspect. But what really hurt Steve Bruce and the Villa supporters, and quite rightly so, was the decision not to play advantage when Alan Hutton was making a very good run into the penalty area, and there were three Villa players in the middle for a good cross, and I think they might have scored from that. And then the second one right at the end of the first half, when another scandalous decision not to give Villa a corner, when it quite clearly came off Carter Vickers on the far side. It just really boggles the mind. Panini says, why don't Spurs play at the Emirates or the Bridge? Do a ground share. I'm not sure whether the Chelsea or Arsenal fans will agree with them there, because they are very, very big rivals, and obviously they can't do a ground share with West Ham for the same reasons. I think because all these London clubs, the supporters, they just really hate each other. It really is. It really is a real state of affairs between the two sets of supporters. You're missing nothing, by the way. There's no real incidents at the moment. Upton Park's available. It is, but they've knocked it down, Chris. They've knocked it down, Mike Claret. They've knocked it down. Have you seen the pictures of the demolition job? 10 minutes gone in the second half. Well, 11 minutes to be exact in the second half gone. Tottenham 0, Aston Villa 0. A good second half here in this third round FA Cup. First half was more of a game of chess, really. Both teams trying to figure out who was going to move where. The second half has been a bit more excitement. It's been a bit more end-to-end, and the game's become a little bit more stretched. We need a good game today, and I just hope that sod law doesn't prevail, and our first ever FA Cup commentary here on this YouTube channel, it doesn't yield a 0-0 draw. My Claret replies, there's still 2 stands left. Blackpool had 2 stands for a while. With all due respect to Blackpool, they're not as well supported as Tottenham are. And speaking of which, Dele Alli is about to enter the fray with 57 minutes gone. He's just preparing to come on. I see over on the far side. Spurs have won a corner. Son, the man winning that corner. We might have a chance here from a set play. Will the substitution be made? I think it might be now. No, they're going to wait, I think. It's going to be a corner here to Tottenham. We're really in the first half. We're really below really below par. Here comes the corner, near side, header one at the near post, but wide of the target from Janssen, who's been, quite frankly, an utter disappointment today. Good corner though, well worked. Just lacked conviction in the direction. He was claiming a deflection, but I didn't see anything coming there. 58 minutes gone here at White Hart Lane. Spurs are about to make a change in a few moments of time. Dele Alli about to come on. He's ready to come on. He's coming up towards the touchline now. He's got out for another throw here to Aston Villa. And when all things are considered, have actually had the better chances in this game. They might have been second best in terms of possession, but they've done much more with the possession they've had, or what little possession they've had, than Spurs have had with their bigger percentage. So don't be fooled by possession stats and how much the team has the ball. It's Hutton now for Villa. They're having a good go here, Villa, and I've got to say, all credit to them. Here's Adama on the far side. Well, deep inside Spurs territory, I have to say. Hutton again. To shy towards Grealish. Grealish now has got a willing runner there, but he's lost it. Trippier did well initially, but ran out of pitch. It will be a Villa throw, 10 yards inside the Tottenham half. And Dele Alli is going to replace the, quite frankly, utter disappointing Vincent Janssen. Spurs fans, what do you reckon of Janssen's performance today? Do you think Dele Alli could be the difference to win the game? Let me know in the comment section to the right of the screen. Although he's getting a fairly good reception, although maybe the warmer reception will be for Dele Alli. Remember, no Harry Kane in the squad today. He's been rested for future battles in the Premier League. Of course, the European campaign reconvenes in the middle of February when they play Ghent in the last 32 of the Europa League. 23rd of February, the home match in that particular round. Both fans still making a great deal of noise, and that's who you can hear in the background. Spurs fans remarkably quite quiet here. Here's Trippier, who's not had a bad match, to be fair. He's done okay, actually, Kieran Trippier. Just confirming the substitutions. Vincent Janssen off, Dele Alli on. Villa yet to make a change. We've played an hour, still goalless, and almost got it through there to Son. Or Ben Davies, rather. It's with Johnston instead. Just remind everybody, if it is a draw after 90 minutes, then there will be no extra time, no penalties, but a replay in 10 days from now. Billy and Sunderland have to play off in a replay. So do Sutton United and AFC Wimbledon. I mean, both those games ended 0-0. So too the Plymouth Liverpool game, home park, in 10 days from now. But here come Aston Villa now on the break, crossing from the right hand side, and almost they had two men in the middle and they just couldn't pick it out. But Villa looked the more likely scorers on the balance of play. They really do. They are looking very threatening in the final third of the field, and they've really gone for it today. And you know what? Regardless of however it turns out this game, we cannot accuse Aston Villa of not having a goal, because they've come away from home, they've played with freedom. There's no doubt about it, and they've had a right goal today. And even though if it was to end 0-0, it wouldn't be the worst result in the world, because they take them back to Villa Park. And Spurs will not fancy a midweek trip up to the Midlands, I tell you, with all their other commitments to come later on in the season. They want to get it done in one go. As Son tries the shot, right-footed, to the right of the area and just inside, and Johnston palming it over for the first big save he's had to make in the game. And that was a really good run. Positive positive run that Spurs have made in the match. Son away from Nathan Baker, who up until then has been superb. Shot on target. And a big right hand from goalkeeper Sam Johnston, palming it over the crossbar. So Spurs starting to come into it more and more now. We've had coming up towards 17 minutes gone in the second half. Kieran Trippier with the Spurs corner, right hand side, in towards the 6-yard box. A good header won there by Villa, but only as far as Davis, still plenty forward in white in the penalty area. Header comes in, and it's wide of the target from Carter Vickers, one of 3 centre-backs that Pochettino has started with this afternoon. Heading well wide of goal in the end. Decent delivery there by Trippier. Getting back to Davis, who put in a very teasing cross. Carter Vickers couldn't apply the direction or the finishing touch that time. Meanwhile, Nathan Baker's receiving a bit of treatment, which allows us to bring us up to date with where else has been happening in the FA Cup this weekend. Millwall, the big shockers yesterday, they beat Bournemouth by 3-0. Andy Howe making 10 changes from the last game, that 3-3 draw with Aston, to disastrous result because Millwall were far the better team yesterday. Well done to Neil Harris's side. Barrow were bravely knocked out 2-0 by Rochdale, who go through to the 4th round. There were defeats as well for Stoke and Everton, most notably yesterday. Wolves and Leicester getting the better of them on the day. So much so that the Everton manager, Ronald Koeman, was so incensed after the game. He said in his post-match interview he wants the hierarchy at Everton to get some new signings in the club now. I think some of these players at Everton, I think some of them feel that they're above their station at the moment, and I don't think they fit into Ronald Koeman's way of thinking here. Steve Bruce will be pleased with the application and the effort that Villa have shown here in this opening 64 minutes of this game. They've had a good go today, Villa, regardless of what happens, and they'll get a great deal of credit certainly from me, because they've really tried and really had a go and tried to make a good go. I mean, they've got a free kick as well, quite rightly, while they're on Leandro Bacuna. Harry Winks, the guilty party. Of course, there's one more game to come tomorrow. That's at the Abbey Stadium, another televised fixture between Cambridge, I should say, and Leeds United. Before that, though, it's the 4th round draw taking place at 7 o'clock. You'll be able to hear that on the JB Connor YouTube channel. We'll live stream that one for you. That comes from the BT Towers. A chance here for Bill. And Bongrahorn shoots, and it's saved right on the line by Vorm. And it's a corner to Aston Villa, but it could have so easily have been the opening goal, and it should and could have been for Aston Villa. Well worked set piece. They had 2 goals at that. First of all, the number 12 had an opportunity, and then it was Bongrahorn, the second one. I'm just trying to work out who it might have been there. I think it was Davis with the first effort. Here comes the corner. There's still plenty of claret and blue shirts forward for this. Grealish will have a second go at this. Oh, that was a poor cross. But Adoma will get an opportunity here for Villa. They've got 2 players. And here's Grealish now in towards the edge of the penalty area. Adoma wants it on that far side. Adoma now will take on Son. Whips him for pace, hooks the ball into the danger zone, towards the back post. Davis was lurking, it's a goal kick, but Villa should have been in front. But through a last-ditch piece of goalkeeping by Michel Vorm. Looking at the replay, Curtis Davis went in there, Carter Vickers got a touch and it broke to Bongrahorn. In fact, it was a good defensive, I have to say, it was great defending there on the line. Might have been Alderweireld getting back there and actually blocking it rather than Michel Vorm, although it did look a save from first glance. Meanwhile, Sissoko at the other end now. It's a good open cup tie. Here's Davis now across the face. Nobody in. White could get on the end of it, and in the end, it comes to nothing for Tottenham. Oh, both teams could have scored then a goal within a minute there, but I'll tell you what, I don't think touch wood, I don't think a goal's coming too far away. Here's a Bomberhall. This game has really opened out. 22 minutes of the second half gone. Here's a chance playing defending. Offside against Grealish. But this has got the crowd buzzing now of both Villa, their supporters, and of course Tottenham. What a cup tie this is turning out to be. Just need another now to really like the blue touch paper, but we've got a game on here. If the first half was a chess match, the second half's certainly been anything but a chess match. And Dele Alli's made a bit of a difference as well. Here he is on the ball now, far side, looking for runners. He's got one here. Chance here for Harry Winks. Deflection! Well, plucked out of the air by Sam Johnston. We're getting chances now in this second half, and it's a rip-roaring second half of a cup game here. Winks with a shot, gets a deflection off a defender by Sam Johnston, having to pluck that out of the air. Great piece of keeping there from the Villa goalkeeper. And still it remains 0-0, but this is a much better watch second half. If the first half was devoid of any real opportunities, then the second half has certainly been anything but the first. Here's Dele Alli now, trying to break away from his challenger. This has been a remarkable second half here. Winks now for Spurs. Is there a goal in the offing for Tottenham? Or will it go for Villa? Or will we go to replay? Trippier just about keeping that one in play. Now Carter Vickers has it. Infield to Dyer. Dyer now trying to look for Dele Alli, but he couldn't make anything of it. And here comes Jack Grealish. And sure, he was obstructed there by Carter Vickers. Indeed he was. Oh no, it's not. Grealish is angry about something. Mark Dean across. Now I'm not sure whether that's a free kick to Spurs or Aston Villa. Looking at it in closer inspection, that looks like an obstruction there by the Spurs man. I think it is a free kick to Villa. It is. Carter Vickers was penalised. Tottenham substitution meanwhile. Toba Alderweireld has come off and on in his place here for Tottenham is Georges Kevin Ndongo. So I say that quickly. So Ndongo will come on. We'll know him as Ndongo. I'm not going to try and pronounce the full name. Grealish would have had a free kick. And he's tried to catch form out. I have to say full marks for his attempt, but it was a wasted one there considering who was... So many Villa players had pushed forward. 2, 4, 5, 6 of them had pushed forward, and to be fair, give Grealish marks for trying to catch Vorm out, but it would have taken something very special to hit the target from that sort of range, about 45 yards from goal. Here's Davis now for Spurs. Oh, lovely play from Son. Alli inside the penalty area, just to the left of the goal. Still a chance here for Spurs into the penalty area. The header comes in from Ben Davis, and we have a goal. 20 minutes to go, and it's Tottenham who have been much second best throughout the game, but they're in front. Ben Davis with a header from just around the penalty spot, found the bottom left-hand corner, and what a brilliant header. He was going backwards as well, and to get the neck muscles behind that and get the power generated to get first of all the header on target and then past the brilliant Sam Johnson into the back of the net was something to behold, and Villa can count themselves very, very unlucky. That's a fine header from Ben Davis, but tough luck on Villa, who have had the better chances, it has to be said, but it's relief for Mauricio Pochettino. We have a goal now, and this will open it up a bit now, and Villa will really have to attack more than ever, but they've got a corner to defend. Trippier has won that corner, and he in fact will take it. So 71 minutes gone, less than 20 minutes to play, and Tottenham Hotspur lead Aston Villa in the third round of the FA Cup in our first ever live FA Cup commentary on the JB Claret YouTube channel. And there'll be plenty more to come over the next 6 months. All the way to Wembley as Trippier takes the corner into the 6-yard box. Wimmer, was he pulled over? Yes, he was. Robert Cumsley, I have to say, by Gabriel Pommelhor. Mike Dean, for once, got that decision right. But Villa will point to a couple of instances in the first half when Mike Dean got 2 decisions wrong against them, really. The first one, when he should have played an advantage, when Hutton was bearing down on the goal, I mean cutting inside from the near side, and then the second one, they should have had a corner right at the end of the first half, which could have been a set piece, which in turn could have led to a goal. Now Trippier and Dyer, the 2 men committing. Now Dyer had scored a free kick before, but that was for England in the Euros against the Russians last summer. Will it be Trippier or will it be Dyer? Now Trippier's taken 3 kicks and come close on many occasions. Now Trippier's going away from it. It's going to be Eric Dyer. Will it be a floater? Will it be a shot? Dyer with his right foot shoots into the Villa wall. And away comes Jack Grealish now to try and get Villa going. Finds Albert Adomah, who's worked very hard down that far side, but to no avail that time because it's a Tottenham throw. Steve Bruce and Colin Calderwood there, the manager and assistant manager of Aston Villa, who can feel themselves hard done by. They're still not very much out of this game by any stretch. They're still very much in this. And but it's been a really decent watch this second half. I've really enjoyed this second half of this game. It's been a really good watch. And it's had all the ingredients of a proper cup game, as Dyer goes for glory from about 35 yards and he almost reaches the top tier of the stand behind Tom Johnston's goal. But it's been much more of a better cup time than the one that we were due to cover on Friday, but for my cold, because my boys couldn't hold up unfortunately, and in the end I was quite glad I didn't do it, because West Ham were pathetic. I mean, as City were good on the night, West Ham were quite frankly utter pathetic. And they deserved to be beaten by more than 5. It was just an avalanche. Manchester City was just put it on a masterclass. And it just didn't seem like a proper cup tie. That's not Manchester City's fault. They just had to beat whatever was in front of them, which they did to the letter. But for West Ham, they can't be pleased with that performance. As far as they're concerned now, it's just a question of staying in the Premier League now. And they got very short of ideas that night. Oh no, could be a problem here for Trippier. And I'm one of Kieran Trippier's biggest fans. And I just hope that's nothing serious. Pulls out of play. He hasn't had too many chances certainly in league, just because of Kyle Walker and how good he is. See how he sustained the injury. It's a clash of knees and he went down a little awkward. But he's a tough man, Kieran Trippier. He is limping a little bit. As we have a goal kick, and Panini has come on with some historical facts about White Hart Lane. The East Stand is the oldest stand at White Hart Lane, built in 1933, and it's known as the Shelf or the Wedding Cake. It was actually redesigned in 1989. Now there you go. A little bit of history there from our old friend Panini. He's a walking, talking football encyclopedia, isn't he? Meanwhile, there's a 3 kick to Tottenham, just on halfway. Villa are about to make a double substitution there, as you can, if you've got the TV on and you're listening to the commentary. In fact, no, I tell a lie, it's a triple substitution, in fact. Adomah has come off for the first one, and he's going to be replaced by Green, young Green. I'll give him his full name in a minute, but it's number 19. And Jelinek is the second one to be replaced, former Palace man, and he's going to be replaced by number 39, Davis. We'll give the full names out when they come on screen, come on my television monitor. I haven't got any team sheets in front of me. The final change, Steve Bruce going for broke here. Last 15 minutes, Agbonlahor's being replaced. And I'm no need to tell you that Ross McCormack, who can get you a goal for free, has come on now. So it looks as if Steve Bruce is going for it now. So we'll confirm all those for you. So Adoma, Jelinek and Agbonwa all off and all on for Villa now for the last 15 minutes. Andre Gray, Keenan Davis and of course Ross McCormack. Spurs have one more change I think up their sleeve, but Villa have used all their quota in one big goal. 13 to play in this FA Cup third round I should say. I nearly moved on around then. Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 0. The goal scorer after 19 minutes to go came from Ben Davies, who's worked tirelessly hard down the left hand side and got himself into the middle for a nice little cross and nodded past the unfortunate Sam Johnson and into the back of the net. Oh, that was almost a loose one, and Davis was almost onto it. And in fact, that kick from Vaughan found Son, but the flag had gone up very quickly on that near side. The near side linesman saying that Son was offside from the kick. Baker then on his Villa defence almost making a mockery of the free kick then. That's a good kick away though by Johnston. Grealish will win the next ball, will he? No, he loses out. Fairly, says the referee. Challenged with Eric Dyer. You look at them two in size and stature, Grealish and Dyer. Dyer is the taller and a bit more well built than what Jack Grealish could be. Here's Sissoko breaking through to the penalty area. He's one-on-one with Johnston. Oh, he's in it straight at Johnston and makes the save. And Nathan Baker just hooks it out for a throw for the Tottenham, but it should have been 2-0 there to Tottenham. Moves to Sissoko and ghosted in from the back. Got away from Nathan Baker here. Got one-on-one with Johnston, who narrowed the angle superbly, made himself look big, and stuck out a right hand and palmed it away. And Baker completed the clearance. And that save may have just kept Aston Villa in this season's FA Cup for the moment anyway. 11 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Free kick to Tottenham, who should be now out of sight. And could that missed chance come back to haunt Tottenham? That's a big save from Sam Johnston in the context of the game, because if that goes in, Villa are finished. But that big right hand ensures that Villa are still very much alive for the next 10 minutes or so in this season's FA Cup. And if they still need to score, however, if they're going to stay in it, or maybe force a replay. 2 would win the game outright today, but if you'd offered a replay to Steve Bruce at the start, I think he would bite your hand off. Here's Trippier though, keeping it going, playing a 1-2 with Sissoko. Trippier getting it through just about to Sissoko, pulls the ball back, and Son is inside the 6-yard, just on the edge of the 6-yard box, and that does settle the tie with 10 minutes to play. Son makes it 2-0 to Tottenham, and they're surely now, barring a miracle comeback from Aston Villa, safely through to the 4th round draw of the FA Cup tomorrow night. No emotion from Mauricio Pochettino, but they've made hard work of it today, Spurs, there's no doubt about that. Trippier though has played well, played a lovely 1-2 here with Sissoko. Got a bit of luck there off the defender, Sissoko, but well, they got the luck. Some lovely work down the right from Trippier. This is what we knew and loved at Burnley. And if he got a run in the team, I think he could be an England international. I really could, Kieran Trippier, but credit to Sissoko. Got a little look there, the former Newcastle man, but Son was just there, and it was a lovely weighted pass into the 6-yard, towards the, from 8 yards out, and Son tapped it in brilliantly there. Centre of the goals, no chance for Johnston. And Villa have given it a real goal today, but on the day, Spurs' quality has shown through. And advantage played, McCormack had to check there. Now the referee has brought it back. Now if he'd have done that in the first half, Mike Dean, we wouldn't have been talking about that. We wouldn't have been talking about him so much. Grealish, who's not stopped running in this game, he's really worked hard. Doesn't deserve to be on the losing side, to be fair, Jack Grealish. He's worked really hard. Crossing from the near side, but it's tucked away. Now, Leandro Bacuna. Well, let's give credit to Aston Villa. They haven't stopped working. They've really stuck in at it. But in the end, when Dele Alli's come on, he's made a real difference to Spurs, I have to say. But Spurs have probably got enough in the tank to get through. Let's be fair, they haven't they haven't been at their best today. Bedini says, as Ali has made the difference, no wonder Real Madrid are looking at him. Well, there's been talk about Mauricio Pochettino possibly going to Barcelona and Dele Alli moving along with him. I'm not sure a Barcelona move would be right for both of them, considering they've still got Luis Enrique installed at the Nou Camp. Why would you want to get rid of Enrique and bring in Pochettino? As Villa tried to get back into this game, but the cross was hooked out from the right and left hand side rather. Baker's kept that in, and that's out. Andre Gray trying to make something of it. I think we said Andre Gray. It's been a full house here at Spurs, even though it's reduced in capacity because of the building work going on behind the right hand end of the goal. A good turnout for this cup tie. Wasn't a good turnout against Cardiff against Fulham. I suppose when you've got two championship sides up against each other, it's not going to be as attractive. Here's a chance though for McCormack, but he's offside there. Claret has said Barcelona were 6 points behind Real Madrid. Could be an interesting little title race when the El Clasico reconvenes. Final change of the afternoon, and it's Musa Sissoko who's been withdrawn, and it gets a good round of applause from the Tottenham faithful. We've been a little bit quiet today, a little subdued, but they've turned out in their droves today. And Sissoko comes off to a very good ovation, and he's going to be replaced by Justin Moma by the last 7 minutes plus time added on. 2-0 to Tottenham, and Benini again going through his autograph collection. He might have got Ali's photograph in 2009 at MK Dons when he was one of the youth players in that side then. Given away though to Grealish. That's sure he's got to be a free kick, and Grealish is perplexed why that wasn't given. That could be another controversial Mike Dean moment again. We'll have to look at the replay. If it looks controversial, it did look a nailed on free kick there for Jack Grealish, but Mike Dean was not interested one jot here. 6 minutes to play in our first ever live FA Cup commentary. It's going the way of Spurs, and it could get even better for Spurs as the ball is hooked across the base of the goal, and just no one in white was able to get on the end of that cross. A lovely cross there, just wide. You see that again, that would have settled it for sure. But here comes Dele Alli across the face. Johnston got a toe on it. Still not away yet. He'll come, and it's just wide in fact. Amona has just gone on as a substitute, shooting wide on the rebound. And Spurs now playing with a little bit of swagger with Villa, just timing a bit. It's a good save that from Johnston, who's been superb for Villa today. I have to say he doesn't deserve to be beaten twice in the game. Inside the last 5 minutes, Villa need to score twice if they're going to force a rematch at Villa Park in a week and a half's time. Of course, there's one more game to come tomorrow night. Cambridge versus Leeds from the Abbey Stadium. Preceding that, the 4th round draw, which is taking place from the strangest of places, the top of the BT Tower in London tomorrow evening. Odd place to have an FA Cup draw, I have to say, the top of the BT Tower. And the television man in the match and the JB man in the match, I have to give it. I have to be Claret's biased. Kieran Trippier is the television man in the match, and of course he gets a double man in the match award because he's also the JB man in the match, our first FA Cup man in the match on this YouTube channel. And it's gone to a former Claret, fittingly Kieran Trippier. Done really well today. Here's Dele Alli trying to run into a bit of space, and Bakuna can get it away for Aston Villa, who can actually count themselves very unlucky really to be losing this game, because they've contributed so much to what was a really good cup game. But of course Villa just haven't had that quality in the final third that you need. Spurs have just had to finish off the job. 3 minutes to go. plus stoppage time between Spurs and the place in the 4th round draw, which takes place, as I say, around 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. I'd like to know, anybody who's listening in now, what's your view on the venue of the draw at BT Tower? Is it an odd place to hold an FA Cup draw at the top of BT Tower, which has got nothing whatsoever to do with the game of football? Would you rather have it at the FA or have it at maybe a non-league football ground or something, the televised draw? We don't want it. I'm sick of the draw being made at silly non-football type venues like the BT Tower. What's that got to do with the FA Cup? Let me know in the comments to the right hand side. Well, that's a foul on Jack Grealish. So a free kick to Villa in a promising position when they've got 2 minutes plus stoppage time to get 2 goals. Now in the FA Cup, nothing's beyond the realms of possibility. Carter Vickers was the man who sent him crashing down. Steve Bruce and his staff look on. Now Ross McCormack can score goals, there's no doubt about it. Can he score 3 kicks? About 25 yards out, just to the left of centre. Now this really needs to go in, and this will make it a real nervy finish for Tottenham Hotspur. McCormack with his right foot hits it. McCormack just over the bar. I think Vaughan might have had it covered anyway. It was a good right-footed effort by Ross McCormack, but it was rising and it just didn't get the dip it required for the ball to hit the back of the onion bag, so to speak. Mike Corritt, I think, has got the answer why they're having it at the top of BT's towers. BT Sport, which is their channel, this is the television channel that BT have. They have a lot of FA Cups exclusives, so imagine why it's there. I just don't understand why you would have it at a non-footballing venue. Have it at Wembley. Have the draw at Wembley, where the FA's based, or have it at Sutton United or somewhere like that. I'm sure there was an audience there that would have the draw at a non-league ground that are still left in the draw. That is where the heart of the FA Cup should lie. Meanwhile, Villa have got a 3 kick. Found on to Shelba. And then Cormac had a sighter early, about a minute ago. We've got 10 seconds of normal time to go. And then we'll see if the assistant or the 4th official will add on time. Well, they didn't have any time on at the end of the first half. Just the 3 minutes at the end of the second half. Let's come over the PA system. Jack Grealish fancying this. No more than consolation. There's Grealish, Bacuna, who can hit free kicks. But Cormac's there too. But it is Ross McCormack, right foot, and it's into the wall, and that just sums up Villa's unfortunate afternoon in a nutshell. And here come Spurs now on the break. Here's Harry Winks, who's had a decent game. Here's the man of the match, Trippier, looking in the way, and Panini now giving another history lesson, which is great. I still remember the old BT yellow vans when I was a little kid. There we go. Oh, you don't just get football in here, you get nostalgia from our commenters. And of course we do have a Mike Claret there reminding us all, and I should remind you as well, that we do some Legends matches. We've got one that we just recorded a couple of days ago, which I've commentated on, Liverpool versus Manchester United. That's going to be uploaded, I think, in maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, but he's ready to upload it, so I think it might be on tonight by the sound of that. So go to his channel after you've listened to the commentary of this, and or subscribe to his channel, and you'll get it to see it first there. Because if you subscribe to his channel, and of course don't forget to subscribe to mine if you haven't already. Here's a chance now for Spurs. Trippier now making an overlapping run on the right hand side, and he's played it too late there. Trippier wanted it played sooner, I think. We've now played 2 of the 3 minutes, and there's no more time I don't think there's much time really for Aston Villa to get back into this game. They'll have bigger fish to fry, of course, Villa. It's all about promotion back to the Premier League, where they should belong as a football club. But well, Panini's now talking about the old Bob Hoskins adverts from the 90s. Well, it's been good to talk you through this after saying it's good to talk. Well, it's been good to talk to everybody through this game today. We'll try and get reaction from one or two of the Spurs players. Hopefully Kieran Trippier will have an interview at the end, and we'll bring that interview to you. Here's a chance now for Son inside the penalty area. Good save by Sam Johnston. Son denied his second of the contest, and Sam Johnston, who's played superbly well and will feel very disappointed that he's had two put past him when he's deserved a lot better than what he's had. Well, he made a good save there. Came out, narrowed the angle, and that was a remarkably good save. Not that it'll matter in the grand scheme of things. There's no more time, not even for a corner. The two managers embrace. Mauricio Pochettino has beaten Steve Bruce's side by 2-0. But my goodness, they made it hard work for themselves. But let's give credit to Aston Villa. They came with a game plan, almost executed the game plan. And if it wasn't for a couple of undecisions from Mike Dean, they could have been a goal ahead at half-time. But in the end, goals from Ben Davies and Son were enough to send Tottenham through to the fourth round of this season's FA Cup in association with Emirates. They go through to the fourth round draw, where they'll join, amongst others, Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool are in the draw, although Plymouth are there too. But Aston Villa really gave a good account of themselves, and let's be fair, they played totally brilliantly well and deserve a great deal of credit and a great deal of respect as well. That was not the Villa team we knew from last season. It's a lot different Villa team. They worked hard, and if they have had a bit more luck in the final third, I think they would have scored a couple themselves. But that's the difference really between Premier League and Championship. There wasn't much in it today, let's be fair, but Spurs just had that little bit more quality, and in the end they didn't really need Harry Kane to see them through this round. But Villa should be proud. They'll have the rest of the season now to really concentrate on what's more important to them, is getting promotion back to the Premier League. But a marvellous performance from Villa, but even more marvellous performance in the second half by Spurs, who just had that finishing prowess to finish off the job. And we're now talking about Virgin Media and BT. I think I've opened a can of worms here for Panini as he comments again about Virgin Media. Other internet providers are available, of course, as Pochettino embraces every one of his Spurs team that started today. And there will be interview with Ben Davies and Kieran Trippier to come. As soon as we have them on the stream, we will bring it to you live here on this YouTube channel. And I think we're about to hear from them now in just a second. We will do in a second. We'll try and get some interviews before then. But it was a better second half than what the first one, I have to say, was. The fans now just filing out of the ground. It's gone a bit more eerie quiet now in the background, but it was a good performance really from Aston Villa. They really had a good goal. Let's hear from Kieran Trippier and Ben Davies. They're now speaking with BBC TV's Adi Barber.
Kieran, you had to work for that today, but you got the result. You must be delighted to be through.
Yeah, we're delighted, you know. They made it hard for us, obviously. It seemed like at times there was having six at the back, so it was hard to break them down, but I thought we reacted well in the second half, and I thought the first goal was crucial, and then was delighted to get the second.
You've personally had a couple of great performances recently. Do you feel you're now showing the manager that you can be a regular in this Spurs team?
Well, I train hard every day, and obviously it's difficult because I've got Kyle in front of me who's been doing excellent, you know, so I've got to keep working hard, and whenever I'm called upon, I'll make sure I do my best for the team.
Well, the breakthrough came from the man next to you. A first goal in a Spurs shirt, a great moment and a great time in the match to get it as well.
Yeah, I think it was coming at a tough time for us in the game. We were starting to get a bit sloppy, making a few mistakes, just looking to get that first goal. But in the end, we got it, and from there on, we just had to see the game out.
there's a big expectation now on this Spurs team. When you come into games like this, mentally, how much pressure does that add on you?
It's not so much pressure. I think, we expect a lot of ourselves with the standards we've put out on the field. So for us to come out here, we have to have that winning mentality, and that's what we had today.
You did indeed. And Kevin, just finally, it's been a long time since Spurs lifted a trophy. Do you as a squad feel that this could be the season that you lift one of the 3 competitions that you're in?
We've got great talent in the squad, and like I said, we just want to take it a game at a time, and hopefully by the end of the season we can have one of them.
Well, all the best. Thank you very much, and well done today.
Thank you.
So a good performance there from Trippier, quite rightly the man of the match, and also as well he counts as the JB man of the match, selected by me. But in future commentaries we're going to try and get, certainly later on in the competition, we're going to try and get more of you viewers to vote for man of the match as well. We're going to get those votes back as well for our live games for the rest of the season. But I think there was better. I don't think there were more better players out there that worked harder than Kieran Trippier. Let's look at the match stats very quickly. Tottenham 2, Villa 0. Spurs had 69% of possession to Villa's 31. 13 attempts to 8 in Tottenham's favour. They had 7 on target to Villa's 2. They had 7 corners to 2 as well. And that was just about it really as far as the statistics were concerned. And really it was clear cut in the end, but my word, Villa made it very hard for themselves, very hard for Spurs. Mike Clara says Trippier would have been my vote for man of the match. Panini's trying to turn this programme into Watchdog. £36 a month for Virgin, top speed and free online. There is worse out there, EE Avoid. I think he's trying to turn our programme into Watchdog. You're not Anne Robinson, Panini. But getting back to the game, there was nothing in it, and the second half it really sprang into life. It was chances either end, half chances for Villa. Spurs came into it more, forced a couple of saves from the Villa keeper, and then with 20 minutes to go, that vital moment in the game for Ben Davies, nodding in from across from the far side, unchallenged. Villa will be upset about that, and Panini's man of the match would have been Trips as well. So yes, so there was no doubt who, if we had have had a vote, I don't think there would have been much debate about who would have got it. But really good performance, I have to say, from Kieran Trippier, who hasn't had many chances at the club since going from Burnley, but when he has never let Spurs down in any way, shape or form. He has been a top draw player. I think this was the second goal. This was an opportunity for Son. This was before Sissoko. In between that, Sissoko had missed a glorious chance at 1-0 to put the game beyond Villa's reach, and Son and Trippier sets it up here, plays a 1-2 with Sissoko and gets Sissoko in there behind. Bit of luck perhaps for Sissoko, but by the penalty spot you can't ask for better than that. And as Panini quite rightly says, the draw for tomorrow's 4th round kicks off around about 7 PM, and you'll be able to hear live coverage of that on this YouTube channel. And hopefully we'll be able to bring you some more games from that round than we were able to in this round. But at least we haven't had a goalless commentary today. We're just waiting if we can get some interviews before we leave tonight. But it's been a remarkable day's worth of cup tie action. Let's bring you up to date with what happened earlier on today, because I think it's important that we do that, because I think they're just wrapping up now on the television. Panini says he'll be doing a few games as well from the 4th round. I'm sure we'll share the games. We've tried to avoid each other's commentaries throughout, because I'm quite happy to let you have the lesser likes, but I have to do the bigger. I always like to do the big games, the Manchester Uniteds and so on. Tottenham was a good one. So let's just go back to earlier on today. Let's remind you of what happened. Cardiff 1, Fulham 2, that finished. I'll tell you the goal scorers as well whilst we're at it. Pilkington gave Cardiff the lead on 8 minutes, then Johansson equalised on 14 minutes, and then Sessegnon, after 33 minutes, winning the game there for Fulham. It was played in front of a crowd of just under 5,000, which was a disgrace really, and didn't do the FA Cup any justice or favours. It devalued it, and it was an insult on the FA Cup. The story of the day, one has got to has got to say was the heroics of Plymouth Argyle. They held Liverpool stoutly, bravely and superbly to a 0-0 at Anfield, away from home. A terrific performance there by Derek Adams' men, and to be fair, at the end Jurgen Klopp shook every Plymouth player's hand and said, congratulations, you deserve what you got today, and they're going to get more money for it. No doubt it'll be on television and all that. Fantastic result there for Plymouth Argyle, and no doubt the replay will be hopefully will be just as good down at Home Park. I think it'll be a much more different game, I think, down there with Plymouth's crowd behind them. To Stamford Bridge we go for the next one. Chelsea 4, Peterborough 1. Clear-cut result there for Chelsea under Antonio Conte, who've got just this in the league to go for this season. No Champions League. They're out the League Cup, of course, beating West Ham early in that competition. Pedro got 2, one after 18 minutes. Bashawi made it 2-0. Then William made it 3-0 on 52 minutes. John Terry got sent off with 23 minutes to go. I think straight red card in that game. I think he was the last man. I believe it looked a little harsh, but it was. Nichols pulled one back with 20 minutes to go for Peterborough. And Pedro with his second, 15 minutes from time, seeing Chelsea home 4-1. And one more game to catch up with you from today. Middlesbrough versus Sheffield Wednesday, and there was a sending off in that one too. Ledbetter had put Middlesbrough in front after 58. Then I got a straight red after 59. I haven't seen the incident, so I don't know what happened. Looks as if it was a late challenge, I believe, on Forestieri. But it didn't matter for Middlesbrough too much, but it didn't affect how they went about it too much. Negredo got the second one after 67 minutes. And Martin Deroux in the first minute of added on time made the result safe. So Middlesbrough safely through. Sheffield Wednesday now can concentrate on the bigger priority of getting back to the Premier League, where they've not been since the year 2000. So that keeps you well up to date with what's happened. There is one more game to come, as I say. That's Cambridge United versus Leeds United. Oddly enough, selected for television. Even though there's no Premier League involvement, it's League 2 versus Championship. Although Leeds United still a famous name in English football, if not British football, of course, and they do have a good vast of supporters who always travel home and away with them. And that brings you up to date. But in our commentary game, I think we're trying to, will we be able to bring you any interviews? If we bring you any interviews, we'll stick with it for a few moments, and then if there are any interviews, we'll bring them to you live on the YouTube channel. But well, the first cup commentary was an outstanding success. I think we can give some interviews now. I think I'm just waiting. I'm not sure if we are. Or they're just replaying the game. Let's hear some commentary for some of the games from earlier on, starting with Plymouth against Liverpool.
Given the free kick, last of the whistle halts the celebrations before they can really get going. So many times over the years, ties like this have been settled in the last 5 minutes, but goodness me, here comes Jervis round the back. Forget the thought of just a replay. Jervis was thinking we can win it here. The delivery comes towards Sturridge, and it was almost an own goal, I think. That's the last thing they would have wanted, an own goal. It hits Connor Smith. It could have gone in. It didn't. The referee calls time. It's an incredible result in FA Cup history. Plymouth Argyle, on the fourth tier of the English game, have held the mighty Liverpool at Anfield.
Alistair Mann there with the commentary. That was the story of the day. But that's it from White Hart Lane. Thank you very much for listening in to this match. It was a marvellous cup tie. Came to life in the second half, but it's Spurs but the phone book unfortunately wasn't upset. We didn't get an upset in our live game, but we got 2 games. Don't forget, Panini will be doing the full commentary of Cambridge United versus Leeds. I won't be doing it, but we will bring you the draw tomorrow night. But Panini will give you live an exclusive commentary of Leeds versus Cambridge from 20 to 8 tomorrow night. I'm having a night off. But we will be back with Burnley next week, of course, as they take on Southampton in a Clarets match delayed, as it's a 3 o'clock kickoff. But we will be back with live football in 2 weeks' time, as the Clarets match live takes in Arsenal versus the Clarets. So join me for that, and join me next week for the delayed game, and hopefully we might see a live game from the Premier League. There are a couple of crackers to choose from. Maybe Liverpool versus Manchester United would be a good way to do a live game, plus the Burnley game delayed. But I hope you very much enjoyed our cup offering today. Sorry we couldn't bring you an upset. It's gone with the form book, it's gone to Tottenham, but my word, Villa gave a shock. And a special mention to Plymouth Argyle. They've deservedly took Liverpool to a replay. Well done to them. They are the story of the day. And remember, if you want to hear more of me, the Legends game on Mad Claret 94's channel is up on his channel now. So if you want to hear more of me, in tandem with Mad Claret, of course, go over to his YouTube channel now. But thank you very much indeed. Our first ever live FA Cup commentary, and it was a success in a lot of ways. At least it didn't end goalless, but unfortunately no upset. But as I say, the big mention should go to Plymouth Argyle. Well done to them. They are the story of round 3 today. From me, JB, hope you've enjoyed it, the action this afternoon, and we'll see you very soon. Don't forget, myself and Mad Claret will be back again next Saturday with another Let's Talk Football. But for now, have a enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.